Week 1 of the 2023 NFL preseason is officially in the books, and we've got more winners and losers coming your way today on NFL Daily. But before we get into today's winners and losers, we've been having a debate here at the Chat Sports office because some people have differing opinions on when football is back. Some people think it's when the preseason starts. Some people think it's when the regular season starts. So let me know what you think down there in the comments section. Is football back after the first week of the preseason? Type a Y for yes or type an N for no to get me going today. All right, so now let's start with the winners. We've already gotten a part 1 to this video. So if you see somebody that you thought was a winner or a loser that isn't on this video, check that other video out. I'll put the link and to that one in the comments and description of today's video. But now let's get into the winners here, starting with the Saints quarterback, their brand new quarterback, Derek Carr, who absolutely lit it up in their preseason debut versus the Kansas City Chiefs, going 6 of 8 for 70 yards and a touchdown. Derek Carr, somebody definitely struggled a lot in Josh McDaniels' Raiders offense last year, despite having Devontae Adams as his number 1 wide receiver. Now he's going here with Pete Carmichael as the offensive coordinator here in New Orleans. Made Andy Dalton look pretty decent last year, and now Derek Carr looked damn good there in that first game in his first action here in New Orleans. Now another winner here is defensive tackle rookie Jalen Carter. Now Carter had a disastrous draft process, plain and simply, man. He had the legal issues followed by the terrible pro day, and he ended up falling in the draft, and he falls into the lap of the NFC champions here, and I just can't believe the NFL allowed Jalen Carter to fall to the Philadelphia Eagles here, man. He showed off the power, he showed off the agility, and he had that one really impressive QB hit. That video is going all over Twitter and various social media platforms right now, and for good reason. This guy is a special player. This is the closest thing that I have seen in terms of dominance on film to Aaron Donald at the college level, and you're bringing him in this year to arguably already the best defensive line and pass rush in the game. He's going to be an absolute freak for them this year, and he's a prime candidate to win Defensive Rookie of the Year this season. And then another rookie here, this one a later round pick, Deuce Vaughn, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, of course, Ezekiel Elliott just signed with the New England Patriots, but Deuce Vaughn coming in here to kind of not necessarily replace Zeke because they're two very different players, but it's looking like Vaughn is going to have a serious role in this Cowboys offense next to Tony Pollard, and he looked dang good against the Jacksonville Jaguars in that preseason debut. 8 carries for 50 yards. That's 6.3 yards per carry. That's an excellent number there for the rookie out of Kansas State. And personally, man, I don't know why this guy fell so far in the NFL draft. I've been trying to tell you about Deuce Vaughn, man. You just can't tackle this guy. He is so fast. The agility is off the charts, and he's super intelligent as well, and he has great vision when running the rock. I think he's going to be a really good back in this league, kind of Darren Sproles-esque. Even went to the same school as Sproles, so I think that Vaughn is going to be a really, really good running back for the Dallas Cowboys, and they got a steal there on day 3 of the NFL draft this year. And someone else I thought looked really good was the backup quarterback this week for the San Francisco 49ers, Sam Darnold. Their starting quarterback, Trey Lance, did not look good, and then Darnold comes in and kind of some limited action, only had 8 pass attempts, went 5 of 8, 84 yards, and he had a dime down the sideline, I believe on his first pass attempt, and it was just a beautiful ball, 30, 35 yards down the field, put on a dot. He really showed the decisiveness that Trey Lance really didn't, in my opinion. We'll talk about Lance later on in today's show, but I was really impressed with what Sam Darnold was able to do against the Las Vegas Raiders in his limited snap count there in preseason week 1. Now, let me know who you think was the biggest winner of week 1 here in the NFL throughout the first week of the preseason. Was it somebody on my list today? Is it somebody that's not going to be on my list? Was it somebody on the previous list? Let me know who your biggest winner is in the NFL so far in the preseason. All right, now let's get to Zach Wilson here, quarterback for the New York Jets. Of course, Aaron Rodgers, their newly acquired QB, not playing much, or he hasn't played at all to this point in the preseason, and Zach's been getting a ton of reps. And then against the Panthers this weekend, the Jets absolutely manhandled Carolina on both sides of the football. 14 of 20, 123 yards, 1 touchdown for Mr. Wilson. And to this point in the preseason, of course, he played quite a bit in the Hall of Fame game as well. He's looking pretty darn good. Pro Football Focus tweeted out his stats to this point in the preseason, and this looks pretty good to me, guys. 17 of 25, 188 total yards, a touchdown, and an over 100 rating so far in the preseason. That is excellent from Zach Wilson. I think that he's probably, at this point, a pretty darn good backup. I think he is learning some things from Aaron Rodgers. They have a very similar play style. So if, with the New York Jets hoping that Zach can develop into a starter someday once Aaron eventually moves on, I think to this point it's been a good start for Mr. Wilson. And then we go to Chicago here, where DJ Moore, the wide receiver, the newly acquired wide receiver from the Carolina Panthers in that trade that sent the number 1 overall pick to the Panthers, which of course turned into Bryce Young. But man, Moore absolutely showed out in his first action as a Chicago Bear. Took a screen pass all the way to the house, 62 yards for the touchdown. And this is my take on DJ Moore, man. He has been slept on for so long because the quarterback play in Carolina just hasn't been up to snuff. Plain and simply, throughout his career. I believe he is a number 1 legitimate alpha-type wide receiver in this league. I mean, he's a little bit smaller, but man, he's got great contact balance. He's got great hands. He's a great route runner. He can run after the catch. He's got everything that you want outside of being a little bit short for a number 1 wide receiver. But man, he is the best wide receiver that Justin Fields has ever had to work with in his career, and it's not close. And I'm so excited to see what that combination is going to be able to do in the Windy City this season. And then another quarterback that really showed out was Raiders rookie out of the University of Purdue, Aiden O'Connell. He went 15 of 18. That is hyper efficient with a quarterback rating of 117.8. Had a touchdown as well. And listen, I think San Francisco is one of the best coached defensive units in the National Football League. Not a lot of their starters were playing, of course, when O'Connell was in the game. But I thought Aiden, somebody that's coming in as, somebody that's been a little bit of a shaky decision maker in college, I thought he was very efficient, and he showed a good control of Josh McDaniels' kind of complex system. There's a lot of stuff that you have to account for in this offense. Checks at the line, offensive line stuff. You got to do hot routes. You got to do all these different things to get into the right play in this system. And O'Connell did a really nice job and ended up being really, really efficient. And then another rookie quarterback that I thought showed really good control of the offense was Stetson Bennett, the quarterback out of the University of Georgia, 2-time national champion. Now the backup quarterback there for Sean McVay and his Rams. And listen, the stat line, you look at it, you're like, Jack, Stetson Bennett was just okay, right? 17 of 29, a touchdown, and less than 100 rating. But I look at Stetson and, the offensive line play wasn't fantastic. Things weren't perfect around Stetson Bennett this weekend. And he really showed a lot of poise. He showed accuracy. He showed a control of the offense. And I thought he looked really under control. And he looked like a guy where if Matthew Stafford goes down with those elbow problems that he's been having, Stetson Bennett's the type of guy that can go in there and you can trust on an NFL field. That's why he is a winner to me, especially with where they got him in the NFL draft. Now, that's going to be it for my winners today. Still got my losers coming up. But if you think that there was a winner from this weekend's game that I didn't mention, it's probably on my other video here on the channel. So go ahead and check that out. That's what the thumbnail looks like. I'm going to put that link in the comments and description of today's show. And make sure you subscribe to NFL Daily here on Chat Sports to never miss any of our NFL content this preseason. Now let's get on to the losers, where I've got 6 of them. And we're going to start with the Tennessee Titans and a rookie quarterback here, Will Levis. Now, Levis just didn't look like he was ready to play in the National Football League. Plain and simply, 9 of 14 with an interception. And, Levis is the type of guy that I think is going to take a little bit of time. This is by no means saying Will Levis is going to suck forever, right? That's not what I'm saying here. But, Will Levis and Malik Willis, the rookie from last year's NFL draft, kind of split time in this game. And Malik Willis definitely looked like the better quarterback. He made more splash plays. I think Levis made one really nice throw on the run, but Malik had multiple splash plays. And, it's not like Willis played a perfect game either. He did have an interception. He did have a fumble lost, right? All these different things. But it definitely looked like Malik at least looks better than he did last season, which isn't saying much. Malik was definitely probably the worst quarterback that saw the NFL field last season, and that's not an overstatement. But Will Levis looked like he had a tough time getting through his reads. It looked like he wasn't trusting what he was seeing. And that's the sort of stuff that you don't want to see from your rookie quarterback. And I really don't think that Will Levis is going to be ready to hit the NFL field this year as a starter. So now let me know, who is the better quarterback there in Nashville right now? Is it Will Levis, type WL, or do you think it's Malik Willis? Give me an MW if you think it's the second-year quarterback out of Liberty. For me, I'm going to go with Malik Willis, at least right now, but both of these guys definitely have the traits to make it in this league one day. Then another big loser for me during week 1 of the preseason was the Carolina Panthers offensive line. You want to talk about your all-time stinkers of performances. 15 pressures allowed and 4 sacks given up for the Panthers offensive line. It was so bad that the offensive line had to have an impromptu meeting after the game because they had to get their stuff together. I mean, goodness gracious, man. And when you got a rookie quarterback like Bryce Young, who's going to be the franchise quarterback for you for hopefully the next decade plus, you have to be able to protect him. And I hear from Carolina Panther fans all the time, our offensive line is good. Our offensive line is good. Well, they definitely didn't show it against the New York Jets this week, man. They were awful, and they need to get their stuff together because Bryce Young, he's a smaller quarterback, right? If he's gonna get hit hard time and time again this rookie season, he might end up hurt badly. And you definitely don't want to see that if you're a Carolina Panthers fan. They need to get their stuff together here so that they can keep their star rookie quarterback upright and healthy throughout his entire rookie campaign. Then another big loser, this is the one that everyone's talking about here on social media, and that's Trey Lance, the quarterback from the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, suffered that really gruesome leg injury last year, finished his year really before we really got to see what he could do as the starter of the 49ers. And then Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, does well. Brock Purdy comes in, does well. And, it was very exciting to see Lance back out there on the field, but he looked indecisive. Plain and simply, if you look at the All-22 film, yes, the offensive line was bad, but also Lance had open receivers on his first read, and he wasn't pulling the trigger, wasn't trusting what his eyes were telling him, and that's the last thing that you want to see from a third-year quarterback at this point, man. You just can't see that from a third-year guy. It definitely looks like that the lack of reps over the last 3-4 years are definitely affecting Lance and his game. And, it just sucks for Lance because he hasn't had the opportunity to get on the field. But, I'm looking at Lance. He needs to get better over these next couple preseason games if he wants to be even the first backup for the 49ers this year, let alone the starter. Now, let me know who you think did better last night, or who do you think is the better quarterback on the San Francisco 49ers roster right now? Is it Trey Lance? Give me a TL, not a TY. Give me a TL, or give me a SD for Sam Darnold. For me, I'm going to say Sam Darnold right now. He looked way more decisive. I thought last year with Carolina, he looked really, really good in that little of time that he had as the starter towards the end of the season. Almost got them to the playoffs. And right now, I just don't know about Trey Lance enough to put him above Sam Darnold, at least in my book. And then we get another huge loser, this time in the Windy City, with Velus Jones Jr., the top draft pick for the Chicago Bears last season. And listen, they brought him in as kind of a dynamic weapon that could be used on special teams, as kind of a gadget player on offense. He hasn't turned out to be either one of those things. In fact, he's become a liability on special teams, muffing punts. He had another one in this game this past weekend against the Titans. And there are many Bears fans that are calling for this guy to be cut because of that. Now, I think that he's definitely on the hot seat, man. He's going to have to play better in these final 2 preseason games for Chicago if he wants to keep his roster spot. But there's definitely no doubt about it. Velus Jones Jr., he's a good athlete. He was a good playmaker there in college. He could absolutely turn it around, but given his struggles, I'm not too sure that's going to happen. Then we got another quarterback here, backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Marcus Mariota. And he just didn't look all that great, in my opinion, man. 7 of 11, 58 yards. Looked kind of timid out there in this game for the Philadelphia Eagles when they played the Baltimore Ravens this past weekend. And really, if I'm being completely honest with you, just based on the eye test, Tanner McKee, the rookie out of Stanford, looked better than Marcus Mariota this weekend. He was pushing the ball down the field with accuracy. He showed some nice things. And I look at a guy like Tanner, and I thought that he was really shivved a little bit by that Stanford offense. back in college. It really did him no favors, and I think he's a pretty talented guy. I think he can get through his progressions. I think he plays with good footwork and accuracy. He's got a pretty good arm as well. Not much in terms of mobility, but I think that when it comes to a backup quarterback, you could do a lot worse than a guy like Tanner McKee on your team, and I'm excited to see that battle for that second quarterback spot play out throughout the preseason here. And then another big loser here, Nate Sudfeld, backup quarterback for the Detroit Lions. Of course, the Lions are bringing in Teddy Bridgewater to be the new QB2 there in Detroit to back up Jared Goff. But man, Sudfeld had the chance to play a lot this weekend, and he did not play well, man. 15 of 28, 2 picks, no touchdowns, and a final rating of 45.8. Abysmal from Nate Sudfeld. If he had any shot at winning that QB2 spot there in Detroit this preseason, it has been flushed down the toilet with that performance. Not very good there from Nate Sudfeld. Now, you've given me a winner so far this preseason. Now give me a loser so far for the week 1 of the NFL preseason this year. Let me know who you think was that biggest loser in your book. All right, now that's going to be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all the support, and thanks for sticking around to the end. If you are a real one and you made it here to the end, go ahead, get in the comment section and type real one in all caps to let us know that you made it to the end. That'll be it for me today, guys. Go ahead and follow me at Jack_Sperry. Right now, I'm giving my top 40 QB rankings. I'm putting a new name on that list every day until the start of the season. So if you want to see who's number 1 on my list, go ahead, follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. Really do appreciate all the support, guys. I will see you guys later. Peace.